The age of Dryden was somewhat a very easygoing and tolerant age. The rule of Cromwell was over, and Charles II was restored as the monarch of England. The political atmosphere of England was such that it deeply impacted the writers of the time. And no doubt, even King Charles II was so liberal that this liberal attitude of his impacted the entire spirit of the age. Even Dryden was motivated by the political events of the time, and his great satire, Absalom and Achitophel, is the result of this political background. Dryden assailed the political figures of his time, Shaftesbury, Mammoth, and others who were the opposing forces against King Charles II. And in order to condemn the designs of the enemies of Charles II, Dryden chose the biblical story of Absalom and Achitophel. But one thing should be kept in mind that Dryden was never brutal, or he did not intend to demean any of the characters in his satire. Okay, now coming to the story, we have King David, who is probably the chosen one, the rightful ruler of Israel. Okay, King David is the alter ego of Charles II. King Charles actually has many illegitimate children, as polygamy was a common practice at the time. But Absalom, who is the alter ego of James Scott, was the most favorite child of David. All right, he was, of course, an illegitimate son, but he was the favorite child of David, and he had no claim to the throne. Remember, since he was illegitimate, he had no claim to the throne of King David. But he was very popular, and he was actually loved by all. And however, he had a weakness, that he was very susceptible to flattery, and therefore he was easily manipulated. Next, we have another important character, who is Achitophel. He is actually one of the dishonest counselors of King David. This Achitophel, or Ashley Cooper, is the supposed kingmaker. Okay, he likes to manipulate the king and also the citizens of England or Israel, as mentioned in the story. Now, he is very bold but is restless. He lacks in principles, and therefore he is bent upon manipulating whom? Of course, the favorite child, Absalom. Achitophel, he used Absalom as a puppet for his own motive. Along with instigating Absalom, he also instigated the citizens of Israel. You know, his philosophy was very crooked, either rule Israel or destroy Israel. So he hated both King David and his brother, who was supposed to be the next king. Since King David had no legitimate child, his brother was going to be the next king. And this Achitophel, he hated both of them, as he did not want them to come under power. And therefore, he decided to plot against the king and used Absalom, his favorite illegitimate child, to plot against the king. Now, let me tell you that the Jews were not quite happy under the rule of King David, and therefore, the Earl of Shaftesbury, or Achitophel, he instigated Absalom to rebel against his father. Actually, if you see, King David was very merciful, and this merciful quality of his was seen as his weakness by Absalom and Achitophel. And but by the end of the epic, we see that um, the king loses his patience, and he stops the rebellion that was started by Shaftesbury, and eventually he ruled peacefully for centuries. He ruled for centuries, and with divine acceptance.